Welcome to the Reverberations podcast, where we explore the human experience and the journey of self-discovery. What's good, everyone? Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Reverberations. This is your host, Stuart. As always, it's truly an honor to share this time and space with you as we dial into the journey of self-discovery. And in our last episode, Knock Knock, Who's There?, we were looking at the questions that knock at the temples of our consciousness. The ones where we ask ourselves the questions of ourself, those deeper questions, the self-inquiry. And that's really where the journey of self-discovery truly begins. That's when it begins to get exciting. That's when it's a choose your own adventure. Once we feel the essence, we feel that feeling tone of who we really are. We remember that. We remember our soul's yes. Our natural frequency, our highest vibration, the you that you know to be true at the very core. And it's what we do with that next that begins to create a wave, a series of events that support and anchor and begin to amplify that signal into reality. There's so much power in that. Because once we put our energy towards something that we believe about ourselves, whether it's true or not, once we solidify that, once we crystallize that, once we set forth that neural pathway to activate that thought into consciousness, it begins to amplify that signal. And if we anchor that thought as truth, as a belief system, as a structure, we begin to repeat thought forms and patterns that will initiate and put that into action and realize that as manifested reality. And what we think about ourselves begins to identify who we are. Again, whether it's true or not, if we believe it to be true about ourselves, that is what is broadcasting from our radio tower. That is what is coming back as an echo to us, reverberated back to us. So it's very important to meet ourselves where we're at and not romanticize a future version of ourselves. So on the journey of self-discovery, once we identify that optimal version of ourselves, the one that we get jazzed about, the one that we get excited about, the one that we just can't wait to just step into those shoes and share it with the world, or even just experience it in the intimacy of our own home, of whatever that is that lights us up, that brings us joy. When we experience this frequency of ourself, so many want to leave their job, their relationship, their place of residence, change anything and everything in their sight that's not in alignment. We see a lot of this around New Year's. The New Year's resolution, what are we going to resolve? Because we begin to see a version of ourselves that's not in alignment. It's not serving us. It's not serving that personal frequency, our optimal functionality of what we really desire, of what our heartfelt desire is, and our soul's yes. So the questions that led us to the essence of who we are so important because those are the guideposts, because it really doesn't matter where we go, because we're always taking ourselves with us. Our thoughts will never leave us. So are we ready to fully break free from the chains that bound us, the previous thoughts, the old ways, the used tos, or what we think we know, or what we were taught, and be vulnerable enough to open up to what could lead us to experiencing our optimal frequency? And all of the things that we talked about, moving, releasing a partnership, quitting a job, all of those can provide the necessary catalyst to shift, that we always have ourself. So wherever we go, there we are. We tend to meet the same people, just with different faces. So while we may move on from what we feel is holding us back, the invitation is to delve deeper within and look at what we need to do. Where are we going? What is the pathway that we're setting for ourselves? We have the insight, we have the knowledge of who we are, our true self, the self that we absolutely love. So we know that we're never leaving that self. That self is always here. We have the reference point. At the same time, we never escape the board on which the game is played, which is this life. So how do we change the way that we play it? What's our strategy? What's the framework? What's the structure? Now, we can go with the flow, but go with the flow is more of a mind state rather than being led from situation to circumstance. We want to be engaged in the flow and still be open to the mystery. At times, if we just go with the flow, it sets us up to blame what's outside of us for the results that show up. And if we wish to change the results, we have to look at what creates the results. That's where self-study, self-discovery, the journey of remembering, becoming, being, the choose your own adventure, like we were saying. It does require courage. There's no doubt about it. Though as with any game, we can make it fun or we can make it challenging. So what within our experience is that guiding light? What is that energetic? And if we wish to change our results, we have to look at what creates the results. And this is the journey of self-discovery. This is self-study, the journey of remembering, becoming, and being. And this self-awareness expands our vision while tuning into ourself at a subtle energetic level. We see ourselves in a completely different light. For as we open up, we release these attachments. And that curiosity leads to another way of seeing things, of experiencing, that might be more energy efficient and in alignment. And as we open to the possibilities of what we once thought was impossible, we recognize that we are possible. That we begin to see ourselves, experiencing ourselves, of whatever it is that we vibrationally want to experience. So again, it's meeting ourselves where we're at and acknowledging the reference point of what we know to be true, our heartfelt desire, our soul's yes. And with that comes this keen awareness of what's holding us back. We begin to see that we're the ones that we've been waiting for ourselves, our own superhero. And if we take a deeper look at the patterns in our life, we recognize that we are the source of them. That it's very easy to shift the blame, project, and adopt the victim mentality. Why? To protect our ego. Because of the fears that we might have of stepping into our power. That it's much easier to externalize the experience outside of us and project that outside of us. Then we never have to take accountability or responsibility of being the essence of who we know to be true. Then when we open to our personal truth and optimal functionality, we can no longer ignore it. Ignorance is no longer bliss. Living in our authenticity and on purpose is bliss. Living in right relationship with ourselves and others is bliss. Initiating actions that are in alignment with our soul's yes is bliss. Though we deserve all of it, we deserve all of ourself. And as a collective, we've looked everywhere outside of us for the answer. Religion, celebrities, political figures, YouTube, Google. Though each day we wake with a choice to be our authentic self, to liberate our own mind from mental enslavement, as well as succumbing to the power of others over us. What are we giving permission to? If we desire peace, love, unity, to be seen, to be heard, to be felt, to feel safe, to be healthy, whatever we desire for ourselves, it isn't out there. It's in here, right here, within us. Aligning our thoughts with inspired action is the first step. Seeing the big picture, clear vision, or at least the insight into what we wish to experience in this lifetime. Then speaking to it, sharing it, writing about it, connecting with others who can support and hold the space for you. If we honor and care for ourselves, everything around us does the same. If it's not in alignment with the path of our heartfelt desire, it's not for us. And this is where the work is. Now, it may not be easy. It may not be the most fun to experience. There's a grieving process. As with anything, as with any loss, especially a part of ourself. The habitual patterns, the ingrained neural pathways that are attached to what was. It requires time, patience, persistence, a consistency, a dedication, an appreciation and gratitude for knowing that what we desire is here, right here. And through that deliberate process of living on purpose with intention, that vision of ourself that we know to be true, that we tuned in with, that we felt the very essence of who we are, that begins to light the path before us. We become to be the beacon that is within inside. We are the torchbearer, creating the life that we desire. Now, the kicker with all of this is to not get caught in the patterns of unhealthy ego, of swaying the other way, of becoming too attached to our own expectations that we blind ourselves of the world that's around us, because the energies are about working with one another, an equal exchange of energy. So as we begin to transform the world around us, the world around us begins to reveal itself to us. And the more that we are entrusted with that, we have a greater responsibility and accountability to the world before us. And the more that we lean into that with joy and surrendering to knowing that we are held in that space with those that we choose to share this human experience with, our tribe begins to expand. We know that we are nourished, we are held, we are supported. This is the essence of community building, of being able to nourish and nurture ourselves and energetically align with those qualities that allow us to participate in community with reverence, with integrity. The world begins to show us just how magical it truly is, because we've opened to the magic within. Are we going to carry forward the energetics of the past, or are we willing to experience the magic of now, the alchemy, the wisdom, the infinite reservoir of the eternal now that we get to dip into, all of us, if Source, consciousness, Creator, God, is everywhere, in all things, as all things, and through all things, infinite and eternal, then that potential, that potency, that energetic is within us, that we are a carbon copy, that we are a mirror image, that we are a representation manifested in physical form. So that brings a whole different dynamic to wherever we go, there we are. That brings a whole different light to being of service. That offers a whole new perspective of presence. While it all begins within, it only happens because we've recognized our connection to all. So wherever we go, whatever we do, whatever situation or circumstance we may find ourselves in, we have an opportunity to be the highest vibration, the best version of ourselves, our favorite version of ourselves. And these awarenesses came from my own life experience. When I moved from Connecticut down to Florida, I really thought that everything was going to magically open up for me. And it did. Though I made choices that weren't in alignment with that. I made choices that didn't support the outcome. And I began to learn a whole different level of personal responsibility and accountability. The lessons are there for us if we're willing to see them. And sometimes it takes repetition of the same thing happening over and over and over and over again to be able to see, to be able to recognize, like, hey, maybe this has a little bit more to do with me. What's my role in this? Because I've changed all of these things, but the same results continue to show up. And it's been through my life experience to witness this I've changed jobs. I've quit jobs to leave onto something that I wanted to passionately pursue, but I didn't have the framework in place that supported that to manifest in the way that I desired it to. I left a location, though I didn't put in the proper steps to be able to create what it was that I desired in that location. I've left partnerships, though I went into another partnership without properly healing or adequately dialing into what was necessary for me to not repeat those patterns or to say yes to things that aren't in alignment with my soul's yes or heartfelt desire or the greatest vision that I know to be true for myself. Now, we can blame and project this onto anyone or anything. Though if we want to get to where we desire to go, we have to do everything in our power to support that, to love ourselves, to honor ourselves, to value ourselves, to recognize our self-worth. We so deserve it. And when we do, I've made some of the most heart-wrenching, heartbreaking choices in my life that brought me to my knees, that wrecked me from within because I chose to do something that I knew would potentially create a wave of pain, of heartbreak, and have to sit in that and work through that and grow through that and love myself through it and forgive myself and those that were involved. And love unconditionally in that space to transmute that energetic to be able to move forward and to anchor in what it is that I desire in partnership. Our relationships with our family, with our children, with our lovers, our friends, are a beautiful reflection for the work that we are called to do within. Everyone is our teacher. Everything is a teacher. Wherever we go, there we are. Who are we? What do we desire? What do we need to put in place to support that? It may seem like a challenge, and it is, though it's a challenge that we present to ourselves. And when we learn to love and partner with ourselves, that we recognize that we can be on the same team instead of fighting against ourselves, where we are going doesn't really matter, because where we are is so delicious that we get to breathe the infinite inspiration, the true life support, that we begin to live the life that we love right here and now, and know that each choice, that everything that we do is supporting and leading towards the energetic expression of what we desire. Wherever you go, I'm right there with you. We are better together. Thank you all once again for tuning in to another episode of Reverberations. Truly is just an incredible experience to share this time and space with you. To be able to share what is on my heart, to be able to share guests that are passionate, that are intentional, that operate with integrity and are of service to humanity, to all in creation. So if anything in this podcast or any of the previous episodes inspired you, touched you, moved you, share this with your social media, share it with your friends. Let's reverberate and spread the love. This is how we can co-create more sustainable and harmonious coexistence with all in creation. Let's amplify our love. And remember, we are better together. Have an amazing day.
Seeking beyond, trying to find the way out of the dark into the light, for a hope that we will shine, that we will align and define this life.